Hello, my name's Charles Wellborn. I'm the Chief Finance Officer of the CCG, and I'm just going to give a brief overview of the financial information that's included in the annual report and accounts. It's important to say we have to prepare the accounts in accordance with the national standard that actually makes them quite difficult to understand compared to what you might see in a company's accounts. So I'm just going to give a bit of an overview of the key issues. So firstly, did we balance the books? Well, we actually made a small surplus of around 4 million on a turnover or an allocation of about 550 million. But it's important to note the reason we did make that surplus is because the CCG has incurred deficits in previous years, and under the NHS financial regime for CCGs, we have to make those good. The other targets we have is a target on capital expenditure, but as we don't have any hospitals or expensive clinical equipment, we don't have any capital, so we didn't spend any, so that was quite easy to achieve. The other two targets we have, one is the running cost allowance, where we get an allowance of £7 million a year to, if you like, run the business of the CCG, and we spent about 6.7 million, so that extra money was invested in patient care. That target is going to be reduced by 800,000 for the coming financial year, and again that money gets reinvested into patient care. The final issue that we have is the better payment practice, and we achieved over 99% in terms of both number of invoices and value, that we think is very important, because particularly in these constrained times, cash is king, particularly for independent providers such as small nursing homes, and it's really important that we get the money to them for the care they provide as soon as we can. The final thing that I wanted to touch on was just about where do we spend our money. Well, of that 550 million, nearly half of it goes on acute hospital services. In the main, probably over 90% at the two hospitals in North Cumbria, Cumberland Infirmary and West Cumberland Hospital. Probably 10% on the cost of GP prescribing, so that's when you go to the doctors and they issue a prescription, we get a bill as a CCG at the end of the day. Another 10% on community services, that covers the community hospitals, but also things like the ambulance service and indeed CHOC, who provide our out-of-hours GP services. Probably a similar amount again on mental health, and it's noteworthy that during the year CNTW, the mental health provider in the North East, came over and started to run a lot of our mental health services, as opposed to Cumbria Partnership previous to that. The other things we spend our money on, continuing healthcare is quite a big one. That's about 6% of our spend. Probably a similar amount on the Better Care Fund that we spend jointly with the local authority on joint initiatives to keep people out of hospital. And then after that, we just have a very small amount, including the running costs, that make up the difference. So that's the CCG finances in a nutshell.